Alright, next day now, Sunday morning. I printed out the schematic. There's a couple of versions of the schematic. What I want to do first is I can't check the electrolytics because I don't have my 950 bridge in yet. It should be in tomorrow. I'm shooting this with the Samsung W200 at 720p because I can get closer with this camera. But I cannot do a long video because I'll have problems editing HD videos. It's always been the case with me. So this diode here is a 1N48. It's a small signal diode. I'm going to replace this with a standard silicon diode. And this is a germanium diode, but it doesn't belong in there. It's too small, too light. No wonder it's blown apart. Look at it. Now, Radio Man Bill has shipped me my old diodes and other things that were in the green cabinet back. And these are some of the old stock. This is a small signal diode right here. I'm not using that in there. I've had this one for many, many years. Here is a 1N34. I used to use these things when I made the homemade crystal sets and stuff, using these instead of a cat whisker. And I've had these since the 60s. So Bill sent me back a lot of this stuff that I had in here. And they're small diodes. But also in amongst these things are silicon diodes, such as this here. Let me look and see if I can find a number on that. I used to be able to read that without even glasses. I bet you I won't even be able to read the number on that with my eye lope. This is a 1N4003. I can just barely read that with my eye lope. So that's what I'm going to put in. But I want to check and make sure there's no shorts in here first. And I'm going to do it with clip leads. So I got to check the polarity here. It's very, very hard to read these things. And this is one of the reasons, not the biggest reason, but this is one of the reasons that I got out of this hobby. Because I can't see what I'm doing anymore. I got what they call a macular hole in the retina, as I've mentioned before. I've had it for 10 years. Started about 2005, 2006. And I only got the one eye I can see out of. At the time, I could have had surgery, but there was a 5% chance that I could have gone blind. I was not going to risk it. So therefore, I'm living with a macular hole in my retina. Not to be confused with macular degeneration. So, it has not gotten better, but by the same token, it has not gotten any worse, as I go to the eye doctor every year. Alright, I hope this is in focus. This is the diode right here. It's a 1N48. This is your watt meter transformer here. This is where you plug the device under test for the wattage. And it goes from this diode, this filter capacitors here, feed the diode. Well, actually it goes the other way. We're getting the transformer feeding through the diode, rectified, and then going into the supply here. That's the way I understand it. Anyways, there's no need, it's ridiculous. I don't know why they ever designed it with a small signal diode. I looked it up. Couldn't find a lot of information on it, but it is a small signal diode. It is not a power rectifier. So I'm going to put in a 1N4003 diode in there. Yes, it's CR1 1N48. And CR2, wherever that is, I haven't located it yet, is also a 1N48. So I'm going to stop and look at this schematic. I had to print it out. In the Windows 2000 laptop, it has, I think, version 5 of Adobe. It does not have internet on it. And it does not have the feature where you can turn the, rotate the program. So I got it off of my computer and printed it out. And it's a lot easier for me to work with it here. The way I understand that, it's kind of a strange circuit. But it gets the voltage here and steps down, goes through the slider, has the diode on it. And then is rectified, and then there's a bleeder resistor right here. Alright, so I cannot test C6. Let me look that up with the iLope here and see what value that is. C6 is a 0.25 at 400 volts. Well, I got low voltage capacitors, so I won't be able to replace that. I can't test it until I get my capacitor bridge in. I could take a chance to put the diode in there, and the worst it'll go is kapooey. But the one end, I don't know. I miss my ECG catalogs, but I don't have room to have books here. I used to be able to look up the specs and stuff, whatever the ECG replacement was, and it would tell me. But as I recall, I think the 1N4003 is a 1 amp diode with 1000 PRV, peak reverse voltage rating. That's a heck of a lot better than putting in a signal diode in here. I'm sorry, I meant to say I got to locate CR2. Well, here it is here in the probe. I don't have the probe. Here it is right here. So it's a small signal diode, and that belongs in there. It does not belong down here, so we're going to change this out. That's not going to make the iTube work, because the iTube goes out when I turn it over to that feature. So the iTube is right here. So there's other issues as to what's... These two are 1 meg ohm resistors. Out of camera again, as always. These are 1 meg, and these resistors are okay. I checked them. And pin 4 of the iTube is supposed to have 250 volts on it. Well, that's too high. From what I've been reading, you should try to keep the voltage around 200, just a little bit over, to prolong the life of the tube. But pin 4, 260 volts on pin 4. So, and it has a 1000 ohm resistor off of it. So pin 4. Let's go look at that. Alright, pin 4 is right here. Is the 1 meg ohm up here. It's right here. It feeds the screen grid of this tube. Alright, I'm not sure where this goes. Alright, oh damn, I can't see good. Goes into this divider network right here, the network for the tree filters, the built-in filters in the can here. Alright, so it's a possibility one of these resistors could be open, and that might be why the tube is shutting off, but the tube does work in the tracer function. But it shuts off in the wattage position. So what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this. Alright, I cut the diode out. The band goes to the left, which connects to this point here. Here's the other end of the diode wire right here. Alright, this is the other end of it here. the band goes this way, but I'm going to double check. I'm just going to put clip leads on this right now. I don't think that's going to make the eye tube light. It's kind of a confusing circuit when you look at it. That's why I told you guys I'm a tinkerer. So you're going to get your expectations up and think that I know a lot, and I don't. I'm a little confused as to how this works. And I don't see how this being blown open is going to stop the eye tube from lighting up when I put it into wattage mode. This capacitor, and as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is the diode's out now. I'm going to check and see what R16 is here. R16 is supposed to be 1 megohm, but it says output transformer. That don't go to the output transformer. The output transformer is up here for the speaker. But that's saying R16, but that's not an output transformer. That is your watt meter transformer. Alright, so let me go tracing out the circuit off camera here, because I'm using big file sizes with 720p. I may not be able to edit this video. Well, according to the schematic, but there's a screw up here. Schematic shows a 0.25 at 400 volts. This is a 0.025. And here's your 1 megohm resistors right behind the cap. There's one right there. And there's the other one right over here. So I've got my own meter here, and I'm going to check those out. Alright, well, I'm confused here because it shows the resistor's fine. Reads 1 meg. This capacitor is in the right place, connected to this diode. One end of this diode goes right to chassis, along with this capacitor and this end of the resistor. But this capacitor is a 0.025. It's C6. Here is C6 down here, and it's C6 says a cap, molded, 0.25, 400 volts. This is a ceramic disc. This is not a molded capacitor, and this is not 0.25. It's 0.025. But it's got to be the capacitor. These discs here are original to the machine. All these discs here are original. Now somebody had replaced this here and this, as I showed you. Well, apparently the eye tube is working in the watt meter section, but it has nothing to do with this diode. Now I've got a voltmeter across the diode where the diode was. So in a sense, what I'm reading is from the center tap of with a potentiometer, the diode goes right to the potentiometer to the ground. So I'm reading to the potentiometer slider, which is right here where my yellow lead is, to ground. I'm reading, I turned the meter off by accident, damn it. I'm only reading 0.004 AC volts and almost a half a volt DC. So let's see if that varies when I turn the watt control all the way up and the watt control all the way down. That don't make any difference. Turn the watt control all the way up on AC. No difference. But the thing is, I sprayed this switch last night off camera. I'm almost totally out of contact cleaner, but that's nothing new. I'm always out of something. But if I take and move this just a little bit, the light will go out. See that? So I got to make sure that's all the way over to the right. And if it goes into the next one down, which is the transformer, the light is out completely. Maybe it's supposed to be, I don't know. Then it goes back on again and trace. Alright? So, it stays on as long as I... See, the switch is... See that? The switch is not very good, not making very good contact here. This is the stuff I was using. I had this for years, but it's more of a freeze spray than a contact cleaner. It seems to work, but right now if I use it, all it's doing is freezing everything up there. It's virtually can is just about empty. Might as well say it is empty. Oh, I gotta go and get some contact cleaner. I'm not sure what to get. Years ago I used to use Channel Master Shield, and that was the best stuff on the market. You just cannot get it anymore. That's a strange circuit. I'm not sure how that works. But that transformer isn't putting out very much. And all it does is go into the diode in here. It don't really make any sense as to what it's accomplishing. This circuit's got me very confused. Very confused. Well, I'm going to stick that other diode in there. My memory serves me correct, and remember, I forgot so damn much. Alright. I got the diode clipped in with the band going to the chassis. I'll turn her on. 2 watts. I've got my soldering gun plugged in as a test. So, I-tube is lighting. Now, I'm sure replacing that diode has nothing to do with this. I doubt I'm getting any AC out. The fuse is good. I checked that earlier. The fuse is good. So, let's fire the gun up. Unbelievable. Maybe because of this switch. It can't be because of that diode. Alright, let me lay this camera right here. Let me alright, see how that? Now, how's that? Alright, we're going to adjust the watt meter now until the eye just opens. Alright, that's supposed to be 100 watts. Just for the heck of it, let's take out the diode. That's still working. So obviously the problem is in this switch here. Okay. So let's see if this thing will work when I kick this in. Nope. Okay, so the diode is needed. Judging from the very small voltage that's coming in there, I'm learning, you know, as I go along. Maybe a small signal diode is okay in here. What do you guys think? I didn't change anything, but boy, that's reading way off. I'm going to try another diode in here. I am going to try a small signal diode in here and see what that does. I'm going to put in a 60-year-old 1N34. This was in my junk box for many years. Like I say, I got these these parts back from Radio Man Bill a couple weeks back, and he didn't need them. I'm going to put that in here on these leads here and see what that does. See if that makes a difference. Alright, I'm going to set you up on a tripod here. Well, not on a tripod, but I'm going to lay the camera down between these two rolls of tape here so you can see the eye tube. And we'll perform the same test again. We'll put this down here and we'll continue. Okay, are you ready, guys? 100 watts on the Weller soldering gun. That's where you want it, right there. You better put some solder on this tip here. I'm firing it up here without any solder on it. Okay. I want to keep the tip fresh. Nope, that's even worse. So this is not a reliable watt meter. Well, anyways, guys, that's all I'm going to do on this thing at this time. I am going to be working on it, but I'm not going to be messing around too much because today is Sunday. Tomorrow I expect at least a package in from eBay, which is the EICO 147A capacitor bridge that I told you about in another video. And I'm going to be doing an unboxing on that. And then I got 3 pieces of test equipment coming in one box from another gentleman who wants to be, is willing to be identified. And that will be a restored EICO 235 VTVM, a restored and calibrated, everything's calibrated, EICO 324 signal generator, in addition to a frequency counter which will go up to 1.2 gigahertz. So we'll be sharing those videos, but there'll be 2 separate videos. The unboxing from eBay and then the other one of the 3 items. So I'm going to put this off to the side. I'm going to try to upload this thing. If you're seeing it, obviously I edited it okay without having the program crash on me, because I'm doing this in 720p only because I can get much closer with this camera. So that concludes this at this time. I will come back on this, but it may be a little while. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.